Welcome back to Boys and Ghouls Film Review, folks. I'm your host, Sarah Stephenson, and this is my co-host, Mike Stephenson.
Hi, guys.
So tonight we are doing another cult classic called The Crazies, which was released in 1973.
This is a George A. Romero production.
One of our favourites.
We like George.
Mm-hmm. He is an interesting man of his time.
He was. And his son did some stuff too, didn't he?
Well,
George Jr., wasn't he?
I don't know if well done. I don't know if his work is as popular as his father's.
No, but Dad was pretty damn good. That was one of the heroes of the early days.
Mm-hmm.
How's that? Sound good?
Quite right.
Yeah, sound like a plan, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
this one is, well, George, at this time, he would have been popular for his Night of the Living Dead film franchises.
Several other movies, probably.
Yeah, like Martin and other ones that came
Now,
out.
here we go. The Crazies, also known as code name Trixie, because that was the name of the virus it was the man-made virus in the film. Now, 1973 sci-fi horror film.
If Elisa was around, he probably would say Trixie sounds like a name for a hooker.
It does, eh?
Anyway, go back to what you're saying.
Okay, produced by A.C. Croft, directed by George A. Romero, based on a book called The Mad People by Paul McCullough.
Cool.
Screenplay was written by George A. Romero, edited by George A. Romero. I wonder if he did coffee.
Or catering.
Catering. No, didn't it? He looks like he did everything. Now, no bit roles for him. Yeah.
Yeah, well, as I said in the past, guys, if you want it to be done with the right proportions, the right cuts here and there, because back in the day, filmmaking back then would require you to, back then you have. It's all snip about which parts of the film you want to keep. And sometimes, unlike present filmmaking, where you can actually just edit it in your computer and you could still maintain the raw footage in case you're unhappy with the first view that you did. And you can go back and then re-edit it if you wanted to, which is a great feature compared to what would have gone down years ago, where you have to do it by hand and you have to use the special glue and scissors to cut it properly. Anyway, moving on. So
now, drum roll for the money. Now, budget back in those days, $275,000. That wasn't stuff to sneeze at back in those days. Probably about $1 million or so today. Box office only did about $143,000. Now, I didn't get a full release, though, I don't believe, even though I tried to market it. I get the impression, gut feeling, that the market was changing a bit when this movie came out. So a lot of theatres didn't want to put this sort of stuff on there. They wanted to do whatever's becoming more popular in that decade.
Yeah.
And so that's where the problem is. So it had a limited release, even though the critics liked it. And the limited paying public liked it. It's made a good go of it on home media. So it's still around, folks. It's sort of like, dysentery, it's there. You know it's going to be there. You may or may not get it, but you know it's going to be there. But no, I don't joke about the dysentery. But the point is, it just didn't have a big run, so obviously wouldn't show at a box office. But the home market, maybe or in syndication, that might have picked up a few dollars on it. What else can I say before you start telling the story? There is another film. It was a remake, I believe, done in 2010. I'll mention that a bit later on. Not the same film. George didn't make it. He was dead, probably by then.
Well, or he was the producer. Who knows what?
Well, he was 2010.
Maybe.
He could come out of retirement home or something or other.
Well, actually, Mike, sometimes filmmakers would do it to a ripe old age. Like John Carpenter, for instance. He helped out with the new Halloween movie just as a composer, just to work the and maybe an executive producer, so that it still ran the same way.
But when did he make Night of the Living Dead?
Good point.
60s?
Yes.
And how old was he?
It's still young, but
was he in his 20s?
Probably in his 20s.
Okay,
probably.
But bung another 60 years on top of that. If he's still alive, he's going to be in his 80s or even 90s.
Yeah, I just mean now he's passed away, but back then, in 2005,
15 years ago, he might have still been around.
He may have been still around. He didn't want to retire. Like some filmmakers, they don't want to leave the industry as yet unless they could still do it.
Nah.
Other times,
keep going. Yeah.
Other times, if an actor can't hack it or a director can't write it anymore,
then you bow out gracefully.
Before
you make a total fool of yourself.
Yes.
Okay, right. Now, nothing much to say at the moment, so you might as well get into it, I think. There's nothing more to say. I didn't mention the cast, did I? Silly me.
No, you didn't.
And there's a lot of either people, unknown people to me, but I'll run off some of them. Lane Carroll plays Judy. Nice lady, I like her. Will McMillan plays David. Harold Wayne Jones plays Clank, as his mate, I think.
Yeah.
Lloyd Holler as Colonel Peckham.
Yeah, I think he's the one who witnesses the whole... Whatever. Lynn
Lowry plays Kathy. Richard Liberty plays Artie. Richard France plays Dr. Watts.
Yeah. He's the one who's responsible for Trixie, the virus theming.
And Harry Spillman plays Major Ryder. I won't go too much further down there. Mm-hmm. It's quite about people who got mentions here, but they're the main people, so yeah. Anyway, I'll leave it with Sarah to give you the story.
Yeah. It does make me think a little bit of the Return of the Living Dead, obviously. I know George worked with another guy who worked on his Night of the Living Dead, and then that's where they parted ways and then made their own separate zombie movies.
The Dead guys, they had a thing about Living Deads and whatever names and everything else. And
in this one, in the Crazies one, this brings up an interesting subject that a plane crashed in this small town, and it sort of completed their water supplies.
There's supposedly a military plane crashed nearby, had some canisters of some biochemical in it that they're going to use for warfare. Not chemical, but a biological biological that they're going to experiment with, and a canister of it got into the local water supply.
Yeah.
Gee, a bit like cabin fever, hey?
But to the rest of the military, they made out that they just had some weapons that were lost, and
no one thought too much of it. They thought, it was neutralised, it's not going to do much damage. It wasn't neutralised, was it?
Yeah.
No.
In the open scene, we see a man who kills his wife and tries to kill his children.
Yeah, because it was in the water supply and he's been drinking the water. So he's one of the first people who went off his chops, So Sarah is going to go and start at that point because that's where it opens.
Yeah, and he kind of sets fire to his house, nearly killing he kills his daughter, kills his wife. His son is badly injured and scarred, but I don't think he's going to... I think he's going to start feeling effects of being crazy. That's why they call it just crazies.
The crazies. Whatever this chemical, this bug is, it sends you crazy, and you either die from it or your brain's totally broken by the end of it.
Yeah.
But most people die or get shot because they're out of control.
David and... What's his friend's name? Clank.
They were both Vietnam vets,
volunteer firemen, I think that's the term. So they were called up to check out the situation while he leaves his girlfriend, who's his fiancée, who's going to the hospital, the doctor's office.
Yeah, to help out. But she's a nurse and he's a firefighter in his spare time. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, she heads to the office, and there she finds the doctor's office being,
Taken over by the military.
Taken over by the military and their intelligent guys. And
Army intelligence. That's a bit of a...
they were both
misnomer,
injected
isn't it?
and stuff, and it's not a vaccination or anything like that, not to protect them from the crazies or whatever is in the air or in the water, but it's indicated that it's in the water supplies, right, Mike?
Yes.
It's hinted at.
It mentioned it got into the water
Yeah,
supplies.
it did.
Yeah.
Anyway, so anyone in the town is vulnerable to it because they drink the water on a daily basis. Coffee, just drinking it right from the tap. The usual stuff, mostly.
See? Don't drink water. Drink bourbon.
Don't go there.
Whiskey. Vodka's pretty good.
Well, actually, Mike, even some alcohols would use water substance.
Yeah, but you like to think the alcohol will actually kill it?
Yeah,
probably. It's safer. Yummy.
To poisons fighting against each other.
Oh, I'd rather die of alcoholic poisoning the other.
So anyway, the whole town is under quarantine or lockdown.
Yeah, lockdown. No one in?
No one out.
No one out.
Yeah, they even wake people, citizens, and drag them from their homes
They wanted to round them up and put them all in one place so they can monitor them to see if they're going to be getting infected by the germ or virus or whatever.
They put them inside a local high school, and there the military conduct their investigation as long as possible. Colonel Peckham. He is in the dark about this. He's only told.
Yeah, he's only told enough information to get by on. Typical, secret squirrel stuff, guys? Yeah.
Yeah, he only knows it has something to do with this bioweapon called Trixie. Yeah, that's bioweapon. Yeah. And of course, the scientists explained that they were kept in the dark for reasons, which is ridiculous.
Yes.
Anyway, so David and Judy, they realize that they're in big trouble, so they try to flee. Including Judy even tries to get him some antibiotics to protect him from it.
The doctor guy gave Judy an injection to give to her boyfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, at this point,
however,
we should know, guys. Judy is pregnant, which indicates that
she got a little bun in the oven, isn't that lovely?
Which means that that's why they're going to be fiancés, because you know how what I say about living in sin. In those days, you have to
get over it, will you? Gee, well, you weren't even alive when this movie was made.
Anyway, they tried to escape the military, and they tried to escape. Unfortunately, they don't get very far, so they get trapped along with an old man and a girl named what's her name, Kathy, and her father, Art. I think Art, who she's practically over the rainbow at this point because her brain.
No, she was okay, but she's starting to slip because she was not quite there, but she wasn't weird or anything. But there's something not quite right about her.
Yeah.
So early stages. Yeah.
Early stages, exactly. So anyway, eventually they do escape into a house, obviously, and there they rest up, and somehow along the way they probably drink some of the water that happens to be in their taps here and there.
Gee.
Thinking they might be able to escape, get over the border, and get away. Obviously, gosh knows.
Bugger.
Yes.
Yeah.
But they keep thinking, what if that Kathy might be likely to get the bug already, and all that stuff. Meanwhile, speaking of the bug, the scientist who developed Trixie is working hard to find either a cure to stop it from spreading, or cure it.
Yeah.
Of course, there's a little bit of radio communications problems with their radio
voice IDs
recognition
and stuff and everything.
It's a load of crap.
He couldn't get direct contact from anybody, and actually brought him into the town without any equipment to sort of work with, and all his notes were outside, so he couldn't go back out there to get his notes or do anything. So he's doing everything in a primitive laboratory at the hospital.
Yeah. The local high school.
Yeah, a hospital. Yeah, high school. Yeah.
Yeah, because they turned the high school into a sort of compound for the
all the people. They keep in one place, and
keeping the infected ones separate, like in a separate rooms or set of rooms. I'm not sure, because they do act really aggressive. Some of them are harmless, and you think, nah, they won't hurt you, but their harmlessness, it comes off as sinister when you think about it.
Yeah, they're nasty.
Like, you think the charming smile on their face indicates there's nothing wrong with that person.
But no, they might kill you.
They might kill you.
Oh, by the way, just in passing, this place is supposed to be a place called Evans City in Pennsylvania, which I don't know if it's a real place or not.
Well, yeah.
However, at the end of this, Colonel Peckham is ordered to relocate to Louisville. And I think that's a real place.
Yeah, well, bear in mind, Mike, George A. Romero, as we all know, he was brought up in Pennsylvania, as you know.
Well, there you go then.
Yes. I mean, that's where he filmed Creepshow, most of the
right,
scenes.
okay. Yes, he did, yeah. I forgot about that, yeah.
At one of the ones, which was The Crate, was filmed at his old local alma mater, high school or college or wherever.
Yeah, sorry, his old school and some local places around there. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that, yeah. Very clever, very astute of you.
George
Great
is
observation.
not so difficult to remember or forget. Anyway, so...
Well, we film around here.
True. Anyway, so dear old David and his friends, they try to get... they go to another place, obviously, where there's some guards, and they want to get some answers. Of course, his friend Clank, he kind of kills them. And I think he's on the turning point of...
Yeah, you can feel himself slipping. He knows he's going a bit weird, and he knows he's going.
Yeah, he even says it a couple of times that he's feeling like he's getting worse.
And he knows it.
But I think it's because I noticed he was drinking alcohol, in a prior scene, which could indicate that his immune system is being accessible to the Trixie, I could be wrong. I mean, I'm no doctor, obviously.
And this is a fake virus.
Anyway, Art eventually takes advantage of his vulnerable daughter.
Yeah, I think he's starting to go crazy. So he sexually assaults his daughter.
Yeah, and eventually he gets tackled, but he gets killed off screen. We don't even know if it's a suicide or the fact his daughter killed him.
I get the impression that he killed himself because he was still rational and he realised he was getting out of control, so he killed himself so he wouldn't hurt anybody.
Yeah. His daughter eventually runs into the military guards, and she is not necessarily dangerous, but she's just...
But she's really weird in this, and she's acting in really weird behaviour, so they just shoot her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway, eventually we have David and Judy left, and we notice Judy is going over the... getting a little bit closer to being crazy.
Yes, it's starting to sneak in.
Clank or clank or whatever. Clank.
Think of it rattling chains. They go clank, clank, clank.
Well, these people should name themselves something different.
Fred.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Anyway,
Fred's good.
Clank,
like Fred.
he stays behind and he shoots at the soldiers.
Yeah, he sacrifices himself to go and to shoot the soldiers so his mate and his girlfriend can get away. Lovely.
Of course, he gets shot. He gets shot and he dies. Anyway, eventually back at the high school, the doctor works out a cure.
Yeah, Dr. Watts, he developed a potential cure for the virus.
But when he tries to head out because he can't get through the radio thingy because it keeps on...
So he tries to get out of his laboratory through the corridors, and the soldiers think he's just one of the people who have been locked up there.
Yeah, you think a man who's talking to you normally is, and the fact he's there for a purpose,
but they didn't know that. They were just soldiers who were given no information. So like there's people on the Titanic, no one knew it was really sinking until it was too late.
Anyway, eventually the Crazies go what's the term? Rampage. They began to
get out of control.
Get out of control,
Yeah.
and he falls down the stairs and breaks his head.
He breaks
killing
his neck or
himself
something
instantly,
or other, yeah.
and destroying what could be possibly the cure.
And he's offside. I had no idea what the cure was.
Yeah.
Because she wasn't as smart as he was.
Yeah.
He said, tell me what it is. And he didn't. He ran in the room with a couple of vials with the antidote.
Yeah. And
he had no idea what the antidote was.
And when the Colonel finds out about the cure he found, they bring in another scientist who can't really identify the notes.
He had no idea where he got up to. So.
Yeah. So there's no way... He probably didn't get that far into writing it down.
Well, no,
maybe.
he got it, and he wanted to get it happening, and that's where the problem was.
Yeah. Anyway...
But the thing is, that's where at the end of it happened there. They said, oh, there's another rape rack in Louisville. Oops.
Yeah. Yes.
That's,
anyway,
wasn't
back
contained.
to David and Judy. I mean, they actually, as they're heading further and further away, we notice Judy is finally snapped, but not dangerously.
Not totally.
She is like
out of touch with reality more.
yeah,
No,
she's more like Kathy. Her mind is the mind of a child at this point.
Before it goes totally berserk.
He tries to protect her. He kind of puts her in sort of a crate, not crate. I mean a brick.
Yeah, he's in. I think it's some sort of brick factory type thing, and he put something like concrete blocks around her, the soldiers will walk past her and he'd lead them away.
He tells her to keep quiet.
So she couldn't keep quiet. She kept talking.
And she kept rowing for him. Of course, he goes into, I think, a sort of a tower, or like a lookout, and there he waits the soldiers to appear. Of course, one of them goes up to the lookout, and he gets killed, and eventually David takes his costume and pretends to be
one of the guys, so he blends in.
He eventually sees the soldier approaching where he left his girlfriend, and eventually shoots him. Of course, he scares Judah because she thinks he's one of them. But luckily enough, he removes the mask and she calms down a little slightly.
Lovely.
Eventually, more soldiers appear, and she gets killed, and he surrenders himself to the soldiers, but he cradles his dead girlfriend.
Yeah,
and she remarks about the baby, even though the baby is barely anywhere.
She's having a small baby bump, not too far gone, about 3 or 4 months maybe.
She remarks about how she can hear it feeling it's kicking, and she wants to name it David.
Wouldn't that early?
She felt it was a boy, obviously. Anyway, then we see David much later at the high school, being checked in, and supposedly he might be immune to Trixie. I don't know, because this was just, I don't know how much water he's, how much is immune to the virus, obviously. Anyway, the Colonel, he's told to be called away to, where was it again? Whatever town?
Louisville. I think it's in Kentucky.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, he's told that there's another area that was infected and needs to just check it out. And of course, to them, his superiors tell him that I'm sure you'll be able to control this, but unfortunately, it doesn't seem like it's going to be very easily under control, because from what we've seen so far, that was not control situation.
Nope.
There was a kind of few deaths and a lot of people who don't know what's happening. They're like totally in the dark and don't know what's going on. Anyway, so he gets himself vaccinated, gets a few injections, gets checked over, and he gets to the helicopter pad. He undresses himself. He has to, because those clothes have to be burnt. That's what they want. And the helicopter supplies him with some new clothes, and he gets onto the ladder that's descended from the helicopter, and he heads to the next location. All the while, the music, we watch as the helicopter descends up into the sky. The end.
Well, there you go then.
Well, that's the Crazies, guys. So I think it's pretty cool. I like the fact that it's such an interesting, simple plot, with only a little bit, of explanation of why this is happening.
Well,
most
not
of the time...
not a lot. It doesn't need a lot of backstory. It's a Army weapon they're working on. It was in a plane. The plane crashed. Got the water supply. What more do you want?
True.
Okay, now a few little things. when the script was actually first written, it was given to someone to read and to possibly, with a view to financing it. They liked the story, but the original script was based basically on the military at the beginning of it, and then how the people reacted to what was going on in the town. But the guy who was going to finance it, Bruce, the money guy, he said, I'll finance it if you change it and center more on the military takeover of the town. Make it a bit more interesting. So George Reed wrote the script to suit the financier. Aha. Now, film was shot in and around Evans City and Selenopol, I think it's pronounced, in maybe the same general area. Both are small towns in Pennsylvania, about 30 miles north of Pittsburgh. There you go. It was filmed in the local high school. He did that sort of stuff. And, there you go. And so he kept it local and he used real names. A lot of people say, so-and-soville doesn't exist. He used real names. Woo, scary. Now, box office, didn't have a great exposure, limited release, so obviously that reflected in the box office. So, however, critical reception, I like this. On Rotten Tomatoes, it holds an approval rating of 70%.
That's good.
The general consensus is the Crazies isn't the top shelf Romero that you like to see, but it's a blend of genre, thrills, and social subtext is enough to satisfy discerning horror fans. Metacritic had generally favourable reviews, coming out at 63%. Yeah, so. Blah, 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 blah. It's been, on February 2010, the film was released on Blu-ray, so obviously I thought it was worthwhile giving it new life.
Cool.
And they got it into, it was re-released in 2003, I think, as a 4K version as well. So, yeah.
Yes, so it's not a bad movie as it turns out, guys. It's worth watching. I haven't seen the new one, the new Crazies one. That's been, the remake. I mean, I might check it out one of these days just so to compare and see if it's worth, if it's as good as the original. I mean, sometimes
they're better,
remakes,
sometimes they're
they
not.
can always
depending who the director is and stuff.
The remakes sometimes could be not as good as the original, or they put too much information into it and not enough action or thrills or horror.
Exactly, all that good stuff.
I mean, sometimes I remember in the first Crazies there wasn't. It doesn't have to be so much information. I mean, I like a little secretivity here and there that would, like the whole town going crazy and for no apparent reason, and that they lose their morals.
Morals. They weren't.
They weren't in the right mind.
No, that's crazy.
When you think about it. I just mean they lost. As I said, they lost their morals, meaning they're not thinking rationally. Thoughts.
They were. So it's become what's the word? Well, just.
Like I said, they're not thinking rational thoughts.
But it's not moral. It's another word looking for. But they're losing that. What we have is moral compass, and we know how to behave because that sort of stuff.
Yes. So. Anyway, it's an okay movie because it does seem to say anyone could be accessible to this.
Exactly.
Young, old, or in between.
Yes.
I don't think it affects animals. I don't think.
No, I think they said it doesn't affect animals, only human beings.
Yeah, they also said they experimented on some chimps. Some of the chimps went a little bit by, but one of them somehow didn't
react. So he had natural immunity to it,
meaning that they may have found there might be a humanity chance of trying they might win over this virus.
Possibly.
Anyway, I often think there's maybe a chance that David might be immune to it. I don't know.
Well, it's a bit like the Amiga Man with Charlton Heston. Okay, now I think he had a natural immunity to it, and they were going to use his blood to do blood cultures and stuff to try make an antidote for the people.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if my memory serves me correctly.
Yeah, that's another movie that makes me think of this one where a person is not accessible to it, but will eventually sort of become strong from the virus, obviously, and becomes something more, obviously.
Anyway.
But of course, in this one, I did think that in this movie, I think that it was trying to imply that the military was the naughty guys, because they were even attacking people who were not necessarily, top form, like dangerous,
They were herding the people up to put them in one area without telling anybody what was going on.
Yeah.
They just broke in the house, they got them out of the beds, off the lounge stairs, and herded them in trucks.
Yeah.
Not a really nice way to do things. They could have actually told people a bit of what was going on.
Well, they necessarily keep it to themselves.
No, they said, no, we have a problem here. We need to get everybody to the local high school, there's a quarantine station, whatever, yada, 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 and people would have come peaceably.
And others didn't.
But they didn't say anything to anybody. They just herd them up like cattle, which, they didn't behave very well, did they, all the military?
No, they didn't. Anyway, I think they did mention the Vietnam thing, obviously, being that David and his friend used to be ex-vets.
Well, the vets,
Yeah, and I also should mention, I think George A. Romero and Tom Savini, they were both, they've been to the Vietnam and have experienced that sort of thing. I think a lot of filmmakers who were brought up in those days would have been either drafted or volunteered into that sort of situation and experienced things that would kind of
the period. It might be,
you can say this is back in 1972, and that would have been around, probably in between when Vietnam War started.
No. I mean, I'm going to try and work it out. Trying to work it out. No, it'd been going for a couple of years by then.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's in the middle.
It might have been in the middle.
And people would no doubt at the time would have assessed their opinions about it, thinking this is not a war to be fought, obviously.
I was just trying to think when it finished, because I would have been up for conscription in trying to work. I was born in 54, 64, 74.
You need to have a date. Because
no, I would have been about 71. I would have been up for conscription. So I finished about 71, 72.
Yeah.
These guys were guys were vets, and the war would have been finished by 73 probably.
Yeah.
But only recently recently finished.
Yeah, but I think that they used stuff from that period because how it
keep it topical.
Yeah, to keep it topical, considering this would have been part of their environment, the environment they grew up in.
Exactly.
Like we often discuss in some other movies about the Iraq War that doesn't have a name, which is strange when you think about it.
Well, the Vietnam War, Iraq War. What do you want?
I don't know. There's no name to it.
The war,
like we have World
War
War World War II. We don't have
and World War III is coming up in the next 6 months or so. What's your problem?
I just mean there's never a name for these wars, and it's hard to remember them because there's nothing to connect.
Well, there is. That's why they call it the Vietnam War or the Korean War or the Crimean War. They had names to give you an idea. World War I was a world war all over the place, and World War II was all over the place.
And the Cold War would have been indicated.
That was
Russia,
spies. That was James Bondy stuff.
But still Cold War, which was probably the real thing.
No, the Cold War was spies. It wasn't like a war.
Well, it's still the Cold War.
No.
It is.
It was James Bond stuff. That's the Cold War. Yeah.
Well, you say it, I do.
You say potato, and I say potato. Let's call the whole thing off.
Anyway,
whatever.
So I do think this is a movie worth watching.
Oh, it's not bad.
And seeing.
It may not be as good as Night of the Living Dead, but it's still a good watch.
Yeah, because unlike the Night of the Living Dead guys, it's not unlike the dead zombie guys. Their weakness is being shot in the head or something like that, and the Crazies, obviously, they're just ordinary human beings,
which are still alive, it's going crazy.
That
are
like losing their way of sense, and this could be your neighbor, your best friend, and the point is that I'm trying to make is that this one was different because because the zombies in that would have just naturally devoured you. In this
Yummy.
one, these people would naturally attack you with no...
And kill you.
And with no reason behind it.
They weren't hungry. They just want to kill you. There you
Yes.
go. Now, do you want to rate this now?
Yes, I might as well.
8. There you go.
I'm going to rate it a little higher than that. I'm going to give it 10 out of 10.
Ooh, George will he'd like that if he's around.
Well, I like George's work.
Yeah, so do I. George is good,
mean,
but it's not this one isn't his best work. It's still a good movie.
It's
right?
a good movie. I don't condemn it as a bad movie because it does have, things that there are certain things that could be real about it. Like not the part about the poisoning. No doubt we've gone through that.
Yeah, the poisoning of the water. Well, can happen anytime.
That can happen anytime.
Cabin fever.
And there's the fact that people naturally attacking the army soldiers and attacking anyone that comes into contact. That's a likely possibility too.
Yeah, and even people who weren't actually crazy didn't like the army coming on their land, and they started shooting at the soldiers, and they got shot anyway. So
the parts that make me think of would remind me of those riots that often happen in any kind of country situation. Like people would often attack the military for gosh knows reasons, protesting, and then they in turn get either arrested or manhandled or badly treated, obviously. And that's what makes me think of that sort of thing. And I guess that's probably where they got some of their ideas, their modern ideas at the time, that got them to get, give it a militarized look to it, to make it look like these militarized people are not just there to protect the citizens. They're there to exterminate the ones who may have this virus and might cause more harm than good.
Exactly.
And even the scientists themselves, they got, kind of develop the virus, because you do see much later in the movie that you see one or two of the guys who were either wearing gas masks.
Well,
going nuts.
those white suits to wear when there's a virus.
They wear a white suit,
contamination.
A very big, heavy. I'm not sure if it's heavy or light. It's not important, obviously.
It's one of the white onesie suits with a helmet on it, and a breathing apparatus, so they won't get sick. Well, some were getting sick.
Yeah, I was telling Mike the other day when we were watching this movie, it would be great to actually recreate our own crazy movie, not steal Ramon's work, but to do our own fan-made version of it.
You could do a loose remake of it as a tribute to George. That's not a problem.
Yeah,
but I'd actually rather do something like This Is Not a Test. That's a good movie. Or Carnival of Souls. Herc Harvey didn't know how good that was going to be until after he died.
The point I'm trying to make, guys, is I know this site I go to, that I got some stuff from their site. I kind of got some realistic handcuffs that Mike here used in his first film project.
Yay!
Don't get me wrong; it's a crime-related drama, obviously.
It's not. They're not putting fluffy ones. They're the real ones.
The real heavy kind that has a real key to it.
Yeah, really good.
And I also bought ones for feet in case if I wanted to go for a mental institute style thingy.
Yeah, or really bad criminally do the hands and feet.
Yeah, there's that too.
High security prison sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway,
they also had on sale the special white, overalls type suits.
Those dust coats that the scientists wear and the doctors wear.
And of course, they had the gas masks, which kind of look similar to the ones we saw in the movie too.
We'll get some of those.
If I ever do make a crazy movie that has or something similar, I'll probably definitely buy those and just go ahead and make my own, version of Crazies, obviously.
Yeah, it would be nice.
It would be nice.
Anyway. Where do we get it? eBay. You can buy it on eBay. Amazon, you can rent it or buy it. So some of your friendly streaming sites might have it, and other places may have it as well.
The good thing about those outfits is that they're one size fits all.
Yeah.
Meaning you can actually fit anyone. Go on.
But be careful when you go shopping. There is a 2010 remake I mentioned earlier on. It's not. It might be the same storyline, but ain't the movie you're reviewing. Now, and watch out for VHS tapes being an older movie. You might stumble across one or two of those. But if you're looking for this one, remember George A. Romero is a director and screenplay writer, and the main star is Elaine Carroll, and her offsider Will McMillan. So look for those people. You should have no trouble finding the right movie.
Yes. So that's the Crazies, guys. So you know where to find it, and you know exactly our thoughts on it, obviously. And you know, try to remember what Mike and I said, that this was a 1973 version.
Yeah, 73.
Don't forget that.
Yeah.
And don't forget the actors that were listed.
I just mentioned them. Lane Carroll.
And remember, it's a George A. Romero production.
Yeah,
I don't know who the original
that should show
was
up
made
on
by.
the advertising anyway. But Lane Carroll and Will McMillan, they're the two main actors.
Yeah, I don't know if the new one it was either made by him or just another filmmaker.
Somebody else made it.
Anyway, so that's the Crazies. So that's it
I'm
from
just
us.
crazy for you.
Yeah. So that's about it from us, guys. So I hope you guys enjoyed this latest review. Like we often enjoy what.
Oh, we do. We actually, I like watching these movies because some of these I've actually haven't seen. I've got a lot of movies here I've got to sit down and watch. And Sarah says, "Hey, let's watch this one and review it." And I said, "Well, I've got that in my collection. I haven't watched it yet, so it gives me a chance to go through a lot of my old stock." Yeah.
Anyway, it's worth watching, guys. Even, as I said in the past, I'm a big George A. Romero fan.
Actually, I'm proud to list some of his movies in my collection because you got George Romero, and you got people his ilk, Roger Corman back in those days. A lot of these guys were the guys who started the faster, cheaper films, and they did it well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, and Ed Wood. I mean, he was a good. I think he's a good filmmaker. Every movies. Mm-hmm. He could, with a bit of a push, he could have made it into the A grade, but he never had the money. So yeah, pity.
Yes.
Our heroes.
Anyway,
Fritz Lang. Yeah, I love
right.
Fritz. Yeah.
So, anyway, that's it from us, guys, tonight. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So this is Sarah Stephenson.
And Michael.
Saying see you guys around on Boys and Ghouls Film Review. Bye for now, and have a good week.
Bye, guys.